Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the Apache Kafka architecture. We're going to dig deeper into the whole structure and we're going to talk about messages and what are brokers, what are partitions, and how all these parts of Kafka are working together. So let's get down to the business. Well, to begin with, we're going to take a look at how messages are structured when it comes to Kafka brokers. First of all, Kafka messages are actually a basic piece of data flowing through Kafka and you can read from it. So messages are also called records, uh, consist of timestamp, value, and optional key. Some custom headers can be attached to these messages, but they are not necessary. So as I mentioned, what we do need to have in Kafka messages are values. Key values are totally optional. It's up to you if you want to use any or not. So as you can see in this image, which actually unnecessary parts are emitted, we have key and values. Each part actually interacts with their own serializer and deserializers. So when you want to send some messages into Kafka, you need to serialize them. And when you receive and you actually read the data, you need to deserialize into the object that you actually want, you desire. And it actually applies for both keys and values. So in this step, what actually happens in the real world example is we need to somehow create this message object which consists of values or optionally keys, or we can add some additional such as custom headers or timestamps to the messages, and actually we send this message to the Kafka broker. So what is actually a broker? Each broker is created internally as a virtual machine and is responsible for writing and reading messages into their partitions. So we can take them as server side of Kafka. Take the note that we are dealing with configurations when it comes to have Kafka up and running. You don't have to install the application on a server. If you want to learn about Kafka, you can use Docker Compose file and specific images in order to have your own Kafka, and you can specify some configurations which we gonna see how as we are going further. But now I'm going to talk about topic. What the topic is. Topic is actually a logical name for the location where our messages are stored. Within that topic, we can have our brokers as much as we want depending on our configuration. So let's run some other commands to give us pretty good insight on what we've done so far. If you actually run this command with -describe, you can see something like this. In the first line, you can see a general detail on your topic, the name of the topic, the partitions count, which is 3, in addition to replication factor, which is also 3. And the next 3 lines are configs for each partition. In the first line, you can see the partition 0, which is specified with the leader 0, replicas 0, 1, 2, and ISR 0, 1, 2 as well. So what are these actually variables mean? So my topic simply is our topic's name. The partition 0 is the actually the index of our first partition, which is specified by 0, and the leader is 0, meaning that the replica leader of this partition is 0, the main replica, which means it gets updated by the broker 1, and the broker 1 was responsible for updating its own partition, which was partition 0. So in addition to this little replica, each partition holds another 2 replicas copies, which actually is indicated in replicas, which is 0 as we had here, 1 and 2. These two are other partition replica copies, and the ISR stands for in sync replicas. It actually shows which brokers are current and not lagging behind the leader. So let's move on. The next line, we can see the partition 1 with the leader 1, and the replicas are first of all its own, and then the number 2 and the 0. It holds the partition 2's replicas copy and zeros as well. And so let's get back to our image. As you can see, we have broker 1 that actually is zoomed in here. It has the partition 0 leader and holds 2 other replicas as we mentioned. Afterwards, we're going to see what major components of Kafka are. Producer are a piece of applications dealing with writing messages to Kafka. On the other side, consumers are there to read messages from Kafka and do their own processes. Topics are logical titles and names for places where messages are stored, and zookeeper ensembles, as we have to elaborate on in the near future, helps maintaining consensus in the cluster. And we're gonna see what this sentence means as we moving forward. And the broker actually deals with commit log. Simply put, how messages are stored on the disk. In our cluster in Kafka, brokers not only do need to communicate with each other, also they need to reach an agreement on which replica is the leader or which partition, which is one of the tasks that has been done through Apache Zookeeper, which is there to coordinate our clusters, brokers with each other. Kafka has been noted for being pretty quick when it comes to handling millions of messages. This is partly done through using OS page cache instead of using JVM heap. And in most cases, it actually outweighs using that method. And the next topic would be the commit log, which is one of the most important parts of the Kafka, the core Kafka. And it's a mechanism that facilitates reading messages in a way which is append only, meaning the messages are only added to the end of the file. Reading messages by consumers actually don't remove them from the commit log, so any other consumer can have access to these messages. Log retention period depends on the age or size which is configured in your configuration properties. And one thing to note here is consumers are able to store reading messages from the last message where they actually encountered a failure or they crash, and after they get rebooted, they can store messaging right from where they fell off. The final note that I'd like to point out to is about Streaming API, which is incredibly useful when it comes to processing all the data that keeps coming continuously into your cluster, and at the time they comes into your brokers, you can have them processed using this incredible feature. Actually, it provides local state with fault tolerance, one at a time message processing, and exactly one semantic, which I talked about earlier in my first video, and all can be achieved using Streaming API. So that's all about it. Thank you guys for watching my video. It may be tedious a little bit, but there's no other way. We have to focus our attention around all the topics in order to get a better understanding of how Kafka is and how it works. And thank you, just thank you. If you enjoy my videos, you can push subscribe button, or you can like my videos, and you can leave your comments under the comment section and have fun.